What's going on, love?
Nothing much.
All right. Well, um, for the listeners that are listening and will listen, last Sunday's podcast we had touched on well me and my co-host Hayden Steele, we had touched on like child support, custody, and things of that nature, and I was supposed to have my guest that I have now, or my wife, that's I have now. So basically, we're going to go on another aspect. So it's a bonus edition, and we're just going to touch this, basically just recap and touch on that, and just hear it from a female's perspective. So with that being said, like we was talking yesterday, and what we was I forgot yesterday because I told you to stop talking so we record. I forgot like the gist of it, but child support wise, like how it indulge or how it normally goes as far as Ohio purposes or whatnot.
Well, basically, because Mark said that what if it was shared custody at birth?
Oh yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. No, no, I remember. I'm going. So yeah, so we were talking like WIC and like we were talking the whole aspect like 50-50 at off the top.
Yeah, is that's just very, very, very complicated. I mean, I kind of understand the one parent has sole custody from the beginning. I don't necessarily feel that it should be the other parent has no rights, but it all depends on the situation. It all depends on the other person. Just because the mother have the baby doesn't necessarily mean that she's a good mother. And just because
Or father.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, is it would be no perfect answer to that ever because it's too many different scenarios, so they make it simple. Mom is custodial, dad is non custodial. You set up your rights. For some, that's okay. For some, it definitely should be like that, but it shouldn't be like that for all. So I guess since you can't decipher between the two, it has to just be across the board.
And that in some aspects once again because always said excuse me, I always said case by case is case by case. But that sucks though, you know what I'm saying? Because when you are the non custodial that wants to be in that child life or wants to do this and that, and then when things transition or things go different or grow apart, whatever the case may be, and then now it's normally I go 8 out of 10 scenarios that it's more of a fella that got to suffer through that shit and then be titled as that said deadbeat like we talked about last week or whatnot. So I'm like, but that shit sucks and basically this one I'm repurposing what I was saying before. That can really put a strike on or put a I'm saying like a hard mental I'm saying like it could be shit anxiety whatever I'm saying like it sucks basically it sucks that's all I'm saying it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is a case by case, situation by situation, but a person who is in a situation like that, I mean, you have to be on it, period. There's just no questions about it. You have to be on it. You have to be consistent because, as you know, you're dealing with a person who is not going to make it easy for you, who is not even going to make it tolerable
Right.
for you, who doesn't want to be on the same page, who wants to make it as hard as humanly possible for you to see your child, especially when you already have an established relationship with your child, because they're mad, they're miserable. A person who doesn't care anymore about the other person isn't trying to keep their child away unless they have a genuine safety concern about that child being with that parent. But if that doesn't exist, you're miserable.
Right.
If you're happy in the life that you live, you would not sit and think of different ways to make the other person suffer through the child, because that's exactly what it is. It's through the child. So once you moved on, it should then just be like, we don't have to get along, but there has to be some type of common ground. It doesn't have to be we hate each other, but we have to at least be cordial.
Right.
And when you have one person who refuses to do that, it's like, where does that leave you in that situation? I mean, it's tough, but I don't know. I mean, like, I really don't know, because it is. It's a tough situation.
And then, you know, because because we have a blended family as far as us, and you know, I strongly speak. I say females have um, more push, or excuse me, or have more power than said male. You know what I'm saying? It's more, in my opinion, it's more or less like how you say, like how people say, like you guilty to prove it innocent or whatever. But on the aspect of like with the youngins or whatever, since y'all already the custodial, no, I say y'all, I'm saying the females, the women, because y'all conceive them, da da da, and I always say that y'all already have more juice off top, y'all have more power off top, and so we have to go through these loops and these holes and these, you know what I'm saying, all these obstacles to um to say that, oh yeah, I'm a dope dad, or I was a dope dad. Like I ain't like, for instance, like this fuck it, like me for instance. Hey, I ain't no guy that been jammed up and I did a 20-year bid in jail or 10-year bid in jail, and you know you was pregnant before, or pregnant while when I sat down, then 10 years later now my son or daughter or whatever is 10, and then I'm trying to come back in life and get some type of custody or whatever. No, you know what I mean? Like one of my scenarios, I was there all the way up until we split, and then you know then these things started transpiring. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's just like, to me it's just very frustrating just talking from a male, or one male perspective, that it's like, man, it sucks because y'all have so much power, man, because you, a woman can be like, oh, I don't want that dad in life, whatever, whatever. And then they can say whatever, whoever can say whatever about that, and then make it plausible, and then therefore now it's gonna be a hard thing. Now we gotta spend X amount of dollars. We gotta take time off of work to go here. We gotta go to this judge or this what they call the mediator. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like and then that still don't even go. You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean, it all stems from one person who can't let go. That's what it is. When you have that, that person is miserable. When you purposely keep your child away from the father that has an established, wonderful relationship, because you two are no longer together, you're miserable. That's all that it is. You're miserable. And when you allow a third party to come in and speak on your behalf as if the third person is the other parent, then you're just a pushover. So you're miserable because you're interfering in the father child relationship, But then you're also a pushover because you're allowing a third party to come in and play the role of a father that don't need to be played because you all think that's just how it's supposed to go. The system is set up for cases like this, for people to spend money on top of money on top of money on top of money
Right.
to get issues resolved. But I mean, it's some people who don't even want to deal with it. But like I said, it's about consistency. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent because eventually the other person gonna get tired of going down there.
Mm.
So you have to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I would keep that person downtown. I would keep that person in somebody's courtroom. At the end of the day, it's going to come out in your benefit, but you have to work. You got to be patient because the system set it up in that way to begin with.
Why do you think that is?
Honestly,
Yep.
the system was set up for the man not to be in the
In the house.
household. So it's a
I see.
punishment because it was a punishment if you're in the household, but it's a punishment when you're outside of the household also. If you're not married, flat out it's a punishment. And they give the women this thought of, okay, well, we're not going to help you in any type of way if you let said man be in the house. But if you get rid of him, we'll help you get child support. We'll help you get whatever it is that you and the child may need, maybe temporarily, but we'll help you.
Right.
And that looks better to some women than having the man there.
So do you think do you think it's more or less like is it do you think it's more of a monetary thing or is it a mental thing, like meaning like monetary wise, like say because that said system is set up, um do you think because they able to grab some money depending on where you like your living location? Once again, we're talking about Ohio. I can't talk about like any other state or whatever like that. But do you think that they see that like, all right, yeah, well, I'm getting that check from him every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, and I'm also from the government. I'm gonna get Section 8 or and get this shit. So now I'm living quote kosher or good. What do you think?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
I mean, it honestly depends on the person. I mean, because I can say in my own situation, like, yes, I received temporary assistance and both of their fathers were on child support, but they didn't pay it. They're on it, but they didn't pay it. So I never had a man necessarily in the household until 6 years ago. So it wasn't a plus or minus for me to have them not be on it or be on it. It was just take care of your child. It wasn't a monetary gain for me because at the end of the day, I made sure my kids had everything that they always needed. So it's a plus, but it wasn't as if that made or broke my situation of how I lived or what my kids had if their dads did or did not do something for them. To this day, the same thing remains. They don't do anything for them to this day. And you, as the stepfather, take care of them. Diamond is old enough to have a job. She has a job. But she's still a minor. She's still supposed to have that support from the other parent, which she doesn't.
Right.
Dante, still a minor. He doesn't have the support, monetary wise, from the other parent. So it is truly, truly, truly case by case. Me, it's not a monetary gain. It's take care of your child. That's it. So I don't need you, not you, but I don't need you as far as them father wise in the household so that I don't have to receive this because this was just a stepping stone. It was just specifically take care of your child, but it's not going to make or break me if you do or if you don't. So that can't be grouped as a in a whole because that is literally a person to person type of situation.
Right. Yeah, and then once again, it's just to reiterate, we was talking about last week, so this is the bonus episode as far as being a wife. I want to get a female perspective, because she going through it from, or she have her angles far as female wise, and then we had our angles male wise, and my co-host, he was a single guy, so he was talking really outside the window, looking inside. So it was so I just wanted to make sure that we touched all grounds going in, and but I mean I agree, I agree with that. It it just, like I said, it's a frustrating thing, but I definitely, even in the caption I said that it was case by case. I'm like, it's a very very sticky thing with this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not even whether who do good or who do bad, male or female. So that's why I make sure I preference male or female because it's not just males, because it could be on the, or yes, it could be on the other side of the gauntlet. Um, but it's just so fucking hard to basically I just say why. It's like why, man. But going back to you
Yeah,
saying the system or whatever and
yeah.
shit
I
that,
mean,
but
but
it's like why, man? Like why,
but
like
it,
why
it
we
can
gotta fucking do this shit? Like this shit so simple. Like, if you happy on this other side of town, or whatever, I'm saying, if you happy on this side of the sector, we good on this side of the sector. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, what's up? We good? Yo, where little mama at? Or where little homie at? Where
right,
little buddy at? You know what I'm saying? Like, shit should be so simple. I would assume.
right. So, but the other person feel
Fuck.
like they have that power to make it not simple by playing the hand, which is the kid.
Right.
That's it. You getting money. You getting money for your child. So what is the problem? You being a bitch. In all actuality, because you feel like you can be, which is not, it's not cool because it's gonna fall back on you eventually. Your child is old enough to know what you're doing. Your child already had a relationship with their father before you tried to cut it out and make another person their father. You can't replace a father that's always been there. Whether you believe you can't replace a father that's always been there because that relationship was already established in a positive way. Not in a negative, not in a bad way, negative, no type of way, in a positive way. So you have to be okay with the consequences that are going to come in the end, whether it's from the system or from your own child. Because then you will have some kids who resent the mother because they know for a fact, I was with my dad for years.
Right.
And then you brought this other man in and made me call him dad as if you trying to erase my dad. Not because he doesn't want me around, but because you don't want me around him. But if you're happy, why would you not? You're happy, you're content. You have other kids, you have a whole nother relationship. So why are you so hell bent on making your first child miserable? Because you're hurting your child at the end of the day.
Right.
You think you hurting the other parent. You're getting under the other parent's skin,
Definitely.
but you're hurting your child. Like, it's fucking it's ridiculous. is absolutely ridiculous. And then on the flip side, when you have a parent that think he is the end all be all, and I do when I want to do, if I choose to do, and you gonna be okay with that. No, don't go like that. It doesn't go like that. Especially when you don't do anything, you don't help financially in any type of way, you don't give any positive insight into your child, whether a girl growing into a woman, especially a boy growing into a man. If you can't be that positive role model that your, especially a boy, needs, why are you around?
And that's actually you actually segue. So, God damn it, you got to be on here more, but because you actually segue to what I was about to something we talked about off camera. Um, like that's another thing. Like being a say a stepfather or a blended family. So basically, so I say blended family. So but being a stepfather, whatever the title that you want to that one want to use. Um, and the fathers are in or out, limbo, in or out. You know, how do you think as a mother how you supposed to like really attack that, like how do from a mother perspective, and like for instance me. So how do a man supposed to, or a male or a man or a stepfather supposed to attack that? Because like me and you have these battles a lot as far as like, because I try to, I don't want to step on nobody's toes or whatever. But then you'll say like, well, you can't step on toes that's not around. You know what I'm saying? So like, how do you really think that, for your opinion or from your opinion, how you supposed to attack that?
I just feel that coming in, especially a fresh relationship, like there shouldn't be any boundaries for a fresh relationship because you don't know where it's going to go. But once a relationship is established, you move in together, you get married, okay, then there needs to be an understanding. Clearly, their fathers don't live in the same house, but a man who sees that another man is willing to take care of their child or children with absolutely no problem and is being that positive role model when they're not around, as a man, you should have nothing but respect for that man, and you should also let your children or child know, I'm not here. So when I'm not here, your stepdad is here. You do what he tells you to do. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if the father knows and has that type of relationship with the mother to know, I know she not gonna let no man just do anything to my child.
Right.
So as the father, there should be an understanding without even being said that you need to have that conversation with your child. I'm not here. This is who you live with. So you are to respect this man because this man is taking my place when I'm not able to be here. So that will give the kid a different type of mindset. But when you're a so-called man that doesn't, you do the opposite of it. And it might not even be that you necessarily saying certain words, but it could just be your actions. It could be your lack of words. When you're not telling your kids to do some things and they bring an issue or situation to you, then they not thinking that I gotta listen to him. My dad ain't say nothing about when I just told him this. So it's not clicking with them. Maybe they care, maybe they don't care. That, well, if I told my dad and my dad didn't say, this is what the fuck you need to do, maybe I don't need to do it. But then, once again, A true, real man is going to let their kids know that you in this household, you listen to your mother and you listen to this man when I'm not around. It's different when you have these females who they let different men or whatever just do whatever to their kids. But when you have a woman, a child's mother who you know will not and will absolutely not allow anybody to do anything to hurt your child, then y'all need to be on the same page about it, because evidently y'all not together because she married to somebody else.
Right.
So you have to look at it in a positive light if you're a real man, that this is what you're going to do. You're going to follow the rules. You're going to listen to what this man say. And I would tell this man that I appreciate you taking and you stepping forward when I'm not there. Because clearly I can't be there as much as you are going to be there. So I appreciate you stepping in and taking care of my child for me. It seems to be an issue with some
Relationships
grown
or something.
adults.
Yeah.
You can say that, but you're not showing that.
Right.
You can say that you appreciate another man taking care of your child, but your actions show completely different. Me, I'm not letting anybody do anything to harm my kids. Period. Nobody. So, as my kids' fathers on the outside, if you know that you do absolutely nothing for your kids unless you absolutely want to do it, the least that you can do when you speak with your kids is say you need to respect that man. You need to respect that house. Period, point blank. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But then when you can't do that, then it becomes a problem with you and me. What do you need to be around and have conversation for if it's going to create problems within this household? I live a simple life. We will love a simple house. So if you, as the outside father, can't make that happen on your part, I don't need you around. If you can't be a positive influence, teach your kids how to grow into positive women and positive men, I don't need you around.
And with that being said, like once again, like you know, since the years we've been together or whatever, and I always spoke upon because I grew up. Like I said, my real dad didn't see. You know what I'm saying? But or my dad that conceived me, I guess, or whatever, um, didn't see. Um, but then with my two stepfathers or whatever, like we was dope. Like both of them was dope. Like it was obviously it was in different sectors or whatever, but I respected them, and with me saying that, like you know I'm strong with the even when we first met and I first got indulged with all three of y'all. I I told them I'm like yo, I grew up with a stepfather or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or a stepfather or boyfriend, however you want to say it at the time, depending on what it is. And so I told him, I'm like, hey man, I ain't trying to be big homies or friends or whatever, but you know, I can show you I can show y'all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can show y'all the way, and that's when they was under 10. You know what I mean? Like or well, 10 and whatever, 6, 7, whatever the case may be. And the biggest thing, and I ask you about this, how you feel about it. The biggest thing, I'd be like, yo, when that new guy do come in, or vice versa, if the new girl do come in, and you know you have this, you had this situation of like she ain't taking over my daddy, or excuse me, or he not gonna take over my daddy, or she not gonna take over my mom or whatever if you in a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I mean, how do you really how do you feel about that per se? As far as that, like as far as like trying to blend that said family.
Once again, that's where I feel that the fathers come in, because the kids are going to express that, to their other parent. And that's where the other parent is supposed to explain to them that no, I'm not trying, that person is not trying to take my place. That person's not trying to take my place. That person is in addition to my place.
Right.
And you need to respect them, period. But when you're not dealing with actual adults and they have a different mindset, that's where the whole conflict comes in with kids that have outside parents with another person coming in, because you really don't know what the other parent is saying to them, because of course they're not going to tell you everything,
Right.
but it's not to the point where all the adults can sit down and say, this is the agreement, that we have. um this is the agreement that we have, and this is what it's going to be. um so it's an absolute thing of, the child saying something to the parent that's outside the household, and for that parent to respond positively to it. Because I can't possibly see one of my kids coming to me and saying, yeah, I told my father girlfriend she ain't my mother. What?
Man, that's a heartbreaker. That's definitely a heartbreaker. Oh, that that's a heartbreaker, and that's right on the level of when I told you the story of when I saw my dad on the bus and he didn't know who I was, and I had to tell him. I had to tell him. I had to tell him, or I had to say my mother name for him to remember who I
Well, then
was.
we kind of
So,
understand what that
yeah.
could have been
Oh
also,
no, no, but
too.
once again,
I
that was
mean,
63-24. I mean, whatever. I'm
right.
saying, like,
So,
hey,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
but
so that
what?
kind of could play into it,
I
but it's
I
the
ain't holding him.
fact.
I ain't holding him.
Yeah,
I ain't holding him. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't holding him. You know what I mean, I'm just
it's
like
the fact.
pops.
But when a parent
But
doesn't make you have that respect for, when the parent doesn't make you have respect for the new person who's coming in, it makes the child confused, period.
gotcha.
So you can have this, try to pound it in on your head from one parent who you live with, but your outside parent is saying, well, you don't have to do what they say, or not even saying that you don't, but just never saying anything.
Ooh, question. Then we'll wrap it up because JoJo down here, and then so me, you and JoJo can do a podcast and talk about Minecraft or some shit. But no, to wrap it up, no, with that, I'm caveating with that. Um, so I don't know if the question been answered already through this 30 minutes that we didn't talk, but um, how do you feel about the opposite, whatever, say the opposite, say for instance, like it's you, and then how do you feel if I'm chiming in about the youngest that you and that guy or gentleman conceive?
You
How,
mean with,
how do you feel about that? Like, or go ahead.
what you mean, like with their father in
Like
conversation
yeah,
wise?
exactly. Like say if y'all say you have a conversation with, or you got something going on with
Right.
this, like y'all like on the phone, say I hear it or whatever. Like me, well, you already know my stance. Like me, I stand down as long as there ain't no threats or whatever, as far as to the house or whatever like that. Like I'm good. But when it comes to you and your youngins, you're saying like fathers, um, I leave it alone, as long as there ain't no threats or whatever like that. So how do you feel? How do you feel that should be managed, or is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think that the third person, husband, boyfriend, whatever, should ever step in between that and no conversations unless there needs to be a reason. Meaning, they didn't say something so out of pocket where they didn't threaten you, like you said, or something like that. But otherwise, mother and father need to handle mother and father
There you
issues.
go. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. There
Yeah,
you go. Yeah, you got it.
stepfather, stepmother. But if it comes to where the mom only wants to talk to stepmom for some reason, or stepdad and dad can only communicate because it's such a strained relationship between the two actual parents, that's a difference. But I can handle conversation, and then when I don't want conversation anymore, it's just over with. You won't talk to me again
Right.
at all. When you can't talk to me with any kind of respect, you don't need to talk to me at all. But I don't feel the need to get you involved unless it's an absolute, I feel like there's a threat this way.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. That causes a lot of conflict when you put an outsider into a situation where outsiders shouldn't be. Third, step parents and boyfriends and girlfriends don't need to be in the mix of father mother conversation for any reason unless
It's detrimental.
the mother or the father say, I only want to talk to her, or I only want to talk to him because I can talk to him better than talking
Oh,
to you.
you said it in a good way then.
No, no, no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
no, I'm talking about that part when you said I only could. No, you said
Like
in a
saying
good way.
like if if Dante dad told you like what I feel because me and her can't talk and communicate, without yelling at each other or whatever,
Right.
then I just want to talk to you. Or vice versa, the mother of your child say, I only want to talk to Shanta because I can't talk to him, so I feel that whatever message I need to get across, you can deliver it for me. If everybody
But
can
it's
agree,
cultural.
right,
Yeah,
if
it's
if
cultural.
it can be
Okay.
agreed upon like that, then that's okay. Otherwise, absolutely not. It shouldn't be anybody talking to anybody who is not mother and father.
Right. All right. Well, goddamn. This is a hot 37 minutes. Damn. Thank you for blessing the mic, love. We got old JoJo over there, so we about to take a little
Yeah,
break in
time
because
to
he
go.
he wanna get on. He wanna do a podcast, Joe? You want a podcast? Okay, good. All right. Well, I hope what you do. Okay, but yo, we gonna end it right there. That was a good thing. My wife opened. Oh shit, she opened up, and that was good. And I opened up too. So, but it's all realness in this aspect, man. We ain't we just speaking our truth. And with that being said, hey, look it up. Bruzery podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud. This one will be well, it'll be dropped when you hear this last part. But anyhow, but always Bruzery podcast at gmail.com if you have any topics or comments or um, requests or guest bookings. With that being said, thank you for being on, love.
You're welcome.
All right. And with that, later, idols.